to the Who's Right podcast, and the first half of the season is over. And for some of us, it can't come. It didn't come soon enough, right? but what can you do? But before we get started, subscribe to the channel, like this video. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know how you're feeling. I know it's been a rough first half, but at the end of the day, baseball's this is baseball sometimes. You got to deal with injuries. You got to deal with people not playing up to their capabilities, or people just losing it and no longer being the player that you kind of expected. But let's recap the week really quick. The week started off well. It started off, taking 2 out of 3 out of Kansas City, and we thought we were going to have a good week. But now being swept by Boston, Boston, a hot team. Boston was basically a month ago or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, basically in the same position we are now, and rolled off a 10-game winning streak, and now are a half game, I guess, or so out of the playoff spot. This is baseball today. Unfortunately, we kind of live in a world where we want immediate things to happen, immediate results, and that's not how things work sometimes. And the Boston Red Sox are kind of the example of that. They a month ago were sitting in our same position. 2 weeks ago, they were sitting in our same position. A manager fired, and it wasn't going well for that manager at first. We kept saying, why didn't we fire Mendoza sooner? But Boston fired Cora, and it didn't go well for them in the beginning. And so, that's not always the magic elixir. But for the Boston Red Sox, as we saw this weekend, some of their guys, even though they didn't have probably their best player right now, in Contreras, um, Caleb Durbin is starting to hit, and you got production from Ziegler and guys like that, but at the end of the day, they're starting to hit. They're starting to put some quality pitching together, even with their guys injured. So it kind of shows their depth. Kind of shows the lack of depth that we have, or I wouldn't say lack of depth, because honestly, when you got guys under contract like we do, like Manaya, like Senga, like Peterson, for a while, those things are going to happen in a way where you got to play those guys. There is no way around that, right? And so, we had to let it play out. But, started off the week well, taking 2 out of 3 out of Kansas City. And we should have, Kansas City's similar team to us at this point. But then we ran into the hot Boston Red Sox, and our hitting kind of went away. Today, had the game in the bag, 7 strong innings from Thornton. And unfortunately, between Williams and between Lindor, kind of gave that game away today. Right? And so that's kind of the story of our season, right? Just not coming up when you need it to happen. It's terrible, unfortunately, but that's also baseball. Sometimes it's not your year, and this is definitely not the Mets year. I see guys like me, like my wife. We're gonna watch every game. you know, feel sorry for my wife. I make her watch every game with me, or she chooses to watch every game with me. I don't know which one, which, but we watch every game, no matter how they're playing, because hey, we love this team that much. But I digress. Today kind of showed. I don't know if Lindor's losing a little bit. Um, but he hasn't played well all defense. I'm talking about even when he was here in April, um, hadn't been playing well um, defensively. Like his focus is off. It just seems to me his focus is off, and it's when it's a player of his caliber, it's very noticeable when he's off. The questions, because he is in his 30s, the questions are going to start coming. That is he done? Is he? Is this the Lindor's going downhill from here? All of that. Those questions are going to come up, and to be honest with you, I don't know. Is it Lindor getting older? Is it Lindor just not being focused out there? Because a lot of the errors that he's making are mental. That's why I don't think it's the age catching up to him just yet. But he has had a lot of mental errors this year, which I'm surprised. Because that's not. I'm not used to seeing that from Lindor. But what can you do? He's got to get better. He kind of talked about it today. He's got to focus. You know, he just got to get better. He just got to do better, not get better. He just got to do better. You know, um, I want to touch on Vientos a little bit before we get to Thornton and all those guys. I'm not gonna um, kind of preview the next series in this podcast because one, we got the All Star break, and two, it's the Phillies coming up. It's the Phillies. You already know who they are, and they're probably going to reset their rotation because that's what everybody does. And coming out of the All Star break, so you're going to see Wheeler and Sanchez and all those guys come at you in that first wave of players. So we come off the All Star break hot, right? And so but it's a lost season anyway, so it really doesn't matter in the sense of who we're playing. We just want to see guys playing well at this point. So Vientos, feel bad for the guy because it seems like he's going to have to wait till um, the off season to get traded from the Mets. I didn't see him lasting on the Mets until after the All Star break. I figured he'd get traded. He'd either get traded um, or just ride the bench. But I figured at this point, he just needed to change the scenery, and he still needs to change the scenery. It just is going to have to wait till the offseason at this point because nobody's going to trade for him. He's not going to be available till September, right? They told him 6 to 8 weeks. If we are optimistic and give him 6 weeks, it's the last week of August. And so I don't think we're going to see him until September, if we do see him, because we might not see him at all. Because of that injury. Because what you need, let's say he goes into September with that injury, and with the rehab assignment, you got 21 days before you have to call somebody up. So I honestly don't think we're going to see Vientos at all for the rest of the year. Um, One, it's good for him. I think it's a good reset for him to kind of get his head right. And I'm not saying for the Mets, to get his head right for his next team. You know, because at the end of the day, I want to see Vientos do well. I just don't think Vientos fits here. I didn't think he fit here at the beginning of the season. I didn't think he fit here even last year, to be honest with you. Vientos, if we want to take Stearns at his word about defense, Vientos is the opposite because he's just a DH at this point, especially for the Mets. He's just a DH. He's been playing because we had to play him on the field. He's not good defensively at first, at third. Doesn't matter where you put him. He's just not good. He looks clumsy out there, and he also has a bunch of mental errors. And so, but I wish him the best wherever he goes. You know, if he becomes a solid DH for somebody, good luck. Enjoy that other team. He just doesn't fit the Mets. He hadn't hasn't fit the Mets for a while now. But I don't think, and here it is. I don't think David Stearns wanted to give him up for nothing. Kind of like the way Robert was traded to the Mets. The White Sox exercised his options because they want to get some value out of him. At the end of the day, they didn't. They got Acuna, and so I think that's what Stearns was trying to hold out for with the Mets. It just didn't work. It just didn't work. That's not that's not what we're gonna get. We're not gonna get any value for Vientos, and I get it. You don't want to give up assets just to give up assets, but at this point, he's forced you to just give up on him and let another team take him. So it's one of those things where you just want to just see him gone off this team. Okay, that's enough about Vientos. I don't want it to come off like I'm bashing the guy because at the end of the day, I don't want to bash the guy. I just don't think he fits this team. Um, One of the bright spots of this week, Thornton. Just one word, Thornton. Thornton. It's one of those things where comes up, and he gives you 7 innings. I mean, come on. We've been waiting for guys since Clay Holmes went down for somebody to give us length, and um, and here it is. This is the guy. This is the guy that has to stay in the rotation. Is there anything else to say about that? In the broadcast, kind of made me nervous a little bit, but Ronnie was talking about that this was what Peterson was supposed to be, and when he was on, this was what Peterson was. And at the end of the day, yes, this is what Peterson gave us. I would say Thornton gave us a better outing than Peterson would have because even when Peterson was hot, he made us sweat a little bit. He stressed us out a little bit, right? Thornton through 7 innings didn't even get to 100 pitches. So as much as we want to say that this is how Peterson would have been, the only thing I would disagree with Ronnie is that Peterson would have still made us sweat a little bit. He would have stressed us out a little bit, and Thornton didn't do that. He got soft contact all game long, and this is a hot team. This is a team that swept us. So it's not like he was facing a bum of a team or the Red Sox a month ago. This team is hot. Yes, they're not. They don't have Contreras, but But at the end of the day, they're winning ball games not just because of Contreras. And so the outing that Thornton put out there is very impressive. Very impressive because this is a good lineup, and um, and our other starters got touched up by these guys, and Thornton came out and put up a really strong outing. 7 innings. I can't remember. I know it was under 100 pitches, and he needs to stay in the rotation. Senga needs to be a permanent fixture in the bullpen until he gets traded. Um, that's it. Don't want to see Senga anymore. Can't see Senga anymore. You know, Manaya's gritty. It looks like Manaya's back. Um, it looks like we're finally seeing the Manaya that we've been waiting for since 2024. And so, um, we need to keep Thornton in the rotation, and hopefully maybe keep um, um, Manaya in the rotation as well, or at least until he gets traded. Um, because he's a guy that I wouldn't mind seeing off this team as well. You know, um, he's a guy that, yes, we might have to pay down a little bit of next year, but that's okay. That's okay. Next year, the lefty in the rotation could be Thornton. McLean, you got to resign Holmes, and um, Scott and Thornton. 4 pitchers right there. Whether they want to go after school or not, who knows? Okay, but I think you got the beginnings of a good starting rotation for next year. But we'll see. Again, let's talk about Holmes. Holmes talks to Will Salmon and says he wants to stay here. It's great news. Well, Holmes at this point has proven to you not only I mean he's proven already that he can pitch in New York. He pitched for the Yankees. Now he's pitched a couple years for the Mets. But the project worked, right? The project worked. He's a good starting pitcher. So lock him up. He's open for an extension. Lock him up for 3 years. And because he is older, so 3-year contract, and let's get that done because this is a guy that wants to stay here. Where the Mets are the team that believed in him in being a starting pitcher, and so now's the time. Now's the time to re-sign him. Re-sign him over the All-Star break. Look, here it is. The fact that he tells you he wants to stay with the Mets means that he's not looking for the max contract. He's looking for a fair contract. But he's telling you he's not looking for the max contract. Because if he was looking for the max contract, he'd just play out the season and go into free agency. I don't know if part of it is, um, the impending lockout, which I don't think is going to last as long as people think, but that's a show for the off season. But I don't think this is a guy that is looking to stay with the Mets. So if you're looking to stay with the Mets, that means you're not looking to break the bank. Um, you are looking for a fair contract. So I would hope that Stearns goes out and sends out a fair offer that he can't refuse. But at the end of the day, I don't believe that he wants to break bank just because You don't go and tell a team, one, that's struggling, two, that doesn't sign pitching long term, that you're open to an extension. And guys, why wouldn't you? The injury that he got was a fluke injury. A baseball batted right to the pitcher and broke his leg. It's not his arm; it's his leg. So, and it sounds like we're going to see Holmes um, earlier rather than later because he's already thrown. So his legs all healed up. He just got to ramp up again. Um, and at this point in the season, if he's just started throwing, I would think that he should be back to form mid-August, late August. So we should see him at sometime in August. And depending on how our rotation looks, he's gonna fit right in. I don't think somebody's gonna want to trade for him until he's back on the mound, even though, as I just mentioned, his injury has nothing to do with his arm. It was a broken leg. So there may be a team that will trade for him. I don't know, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how that works out. But I wouldn't trade him. I'd keep him. I let everybody know that you want to keep him because he's a reliable guy. Eats innings. You need that in the middle of your rotation. You need a guy that wants to eat innings, and so or has the capability of eating innings, because obviously every pitcher wants to eat innings. They just can't. I.e., Peralta. It's just unacceptable. His production this on Saturday, I think yesterday, 4 2/3. Anyways, I digress. I don't want to talk about that right now. Go sign Clay Holmes. That's the week in a nutshell. Um, the last part of this week is Williams. I know Lindor made the error that could have ended the game, I believe. But at the end of the day, man, this is the second game you kind of struggle. You blew the second game you've blown, a consecutive game. Um, I just don't get it. I thought he'd be better. I also was wrong. Stearns was wrong. I was wrong on this one. I thought he'd be better. Not. I'm not saying that he would have been better than Diaz, but I thought he'd be better. Um, but I guess it is true. Pete Alonso broke him. He still ain't fixed, and so I wouldn't mind seeing him gone. There was a tweet out there that why isn't Weaver closing instead of Williams at this point, and the reason is Weaver's going to get traded. That's why Williams is still closing. Um, because you're not going to make the change now if you're gonna end up trading Weaver, because then you had a disgruntled Williams, which I know most of y'all don't care, but if he can pitch worse than he's pitching now, he's capable of it if he's disgruntled. So, which is sad to say. It's really sad to say, but what can you do? That's just the way it works. We are wrong with Williams. He's got a couple more years left here, and so at the back of the rotation, back of the bullpen, sure. As the closer, I don't know, but I don't know who else you would put back there next year. We'll figure it out. That's another question for the offseason. But at this point, we live with Williams for now, and um, and worry about next year. But yeah, that's the reason why you don't switch those guys. It's because Weaver's going to get traded. Don't want to see him traded, but you can get another reliever. This is going to be a whole new bullpen next year because I don't see Weaver still being here. He's going to get you the most, right? He's going to get you the most. Minter, I don't see being here because he's going to um, he's in the last year of his contract. Same with Rayleigh. And at this point, I don't think Brosabon's going to be here. I think that team's going to want Brosabon for the stretch run. Um, if they don't, I'd be glad to keep him. Brosabon is a guy that I like. Has his moments, of disaster, but for the most part, is pretty solid. And so, but the three guys leaving for sure are Mentor, Rayleigh, and Weaver. And as far as the rotation, for sure, Peralta is going to go. Somebody's going to be desperate for pitching. That'll give up something for Peralta. But based on his performance, there's no way you can keep him. There's no way that that you can resign him. He's kind of soured his stay here. We're so glad that Stearns didn't re-sign him in spring training because at this point we'd be killing Stearns for that. But he's a guy that's going. So all in all, lackluster. We got one All Star in Soto. Ronnie was trying to pitch for Weaver to make it as an All Star, which I think he should, but I just don't think that's how All Star games work these days. Back in the day he might have made it, but he's not making it this year because most of the guys that make it to the All Star game are going to be closers as far as relievers are concerned. So it's okay. It's no big deal. It's not like we deserve more than just one All Star, and and Soto's playing out of his mind. There's just not anybody around him to back him up. Hopefully, Lindor can in the second half of the season. Season ain't over. No expectations. Um, Hopefully, we get to see more of the young guys. Hopefully, McLean can reclaim his the status that we thought of him last year, where he had the command, he was striking out guys, he was lasting, he going deep in the games. Hopefully, we see that in the second half. He makes the adjustments finally, and he's had a couple good starts, but we want to see it more often, and so hopefully we see that in the second half from McLean. But here we are at the All Star game. There's not a lot to talk about. I think I touched it all on Vientos, the pitching rotation. I don't think anybody's going to take on Senga unless we give him we pay his next year salary. Boy, were we wrong. We were so excited when we knew he couldn't opt out of his contract. We were so excited that he couldn't opt out because of that fluke injury. But ever since then, he's not been the same. He's not been that rookie that came over and almost won the Cy Young. I don't know what happened to Senga. Honestly, I don't know if it's the injury and he's just not the same anymore. I don't know. He's got a devastating pitch. He just can't seem to pitch the other to be able to set that up for it to be effective, right? No, nobody's going to swing at it if they know it's coming and if they can actually see it coming. The only way that pitch is effective is one, you throw for strikes first, and two, you set it up off a fastball that's in the zone, right? But if they can identify it, these are major league hitters. They're not going to hit it. So I don't know if anybody's going to give anything up for Senga. Um, at this point, I don't even know if the Mets want anything back for Senga. I just don't know if there's a team out there that would give him um, would want to take on that salary just for a risk, right? We would have to pay next year's salary now, which I'm open for, just to get him off the books. But I just don't think there's a team that wants to do that. I don't know. I hope there is. I would love to see a brand new team, and like Ronnie was saying, we can have a competitive team, a team that shows some grit, shows some fight, and also sell at the same time. So I'm for it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Sell off the team, and let's just be a gritty team, a spoiler team in the second half. But that's it for us today. We're gonna cap it off right there. But before I get out of here, subscribe to the channel, like this video, share it with your friends, let them know how you're feeling. Let me know how you're feeling. Put it in the comments down there. Let me know how you're feeling. You know, which are the guys you want to keep? Which are the guys that you want to see traded off this team? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. But until next Sunday, until after the All Star break, hey guys, enjoy the All Star game. Um, we play on Thursday. I guess a showcase game on ESPN. But enjoy the All Star game. I'll take a peek here and there. You know, I'm definitely gonna watch the home run derby. But until next time, guys, um, let's go Mets.